This is lesson 2 of pivot table component training. And in this training we're going to talk about adding user-defined filters to the OE history pivot table. So let's get started. We're starting off in the WiSys Agility Design Studio. We're already logged into Database 10 and into the project Pivot Table Component Training. So we're going to pick up the OE history pivot analysis. Now this pivot analysis runs against the order history tables, which is way too much data without being filtered. It works against demo data, but not against any customer's real data. Now, one of the key filters we're going to want on this is date. And the invoice date is the date that was used to link the time dim, so it's going to have to be part of our filter. So let's move on to filters. The first thing I'd like to filter on is the customer number. And it's a range. And its caption is going to be customer number. I'm going to bring up searches, add a search to this. And we're going to use the agility searches. I've explained in a past lesson, if you type in AR dash, dashes are only used in searches to separate the pre-built agility deployed projects and processes. And we're going to bring up the customer search. These names were written to match Macola's very closely in progression of Macola ES. Now we need a date, and we're going to need to find the header hist invoice date. We need to find that. Here it is right here. And we're going to use an advanced date range, which is all we need to do, and just type in a caption. You'll see advanced date filtering is what you always select. It gives you so many different options for entering dates. And that's all we need to do. Now we're going to run this analysis. And now we've got a filter panel where we can select the customer and the invoice date ranges. So I'm going to leave the customer. We can bring up a filter, but I'm going to leave that to all. And for dates, we're going to enter a date range. I'm going to make that date range something I just enter. And we'll go from the beginning of the year. I could have just typed it in. And we'll just take that to the present. Oops. It wasn't positioned to the present. Now it is. And then we're going to run that range. Now before we were only looking at year because it didn't make sense. Now we only are looking at 2010. So it would make more sense now to look at, say, quarters. And now we're only looking at this year's set of quarters, and we're looking at that for all customers. So that's how we add filters to a pivot table. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video tutorial, and I encourage you to move on to the next video tutorial in this series.